Tony Stark made some incredible things before his heroic sacrifice, but what do you think is his most powerful invention? The dude seemed to invent stuff on the daily, so it's a little hard to pick favorites. Obviously, everyone would pick his Iron Man suits because, no duh, but today we're highlighting his other awesome inventions to give them all a chance. Let's get into it right now. To say Tony was a paranoid guy is a bit of an understatement, don't you think? Ever since he got a glimpse of outer space in the first Avengers movie, he was a little on edge. He was absolutely certain the big one was coming, and Earth had to step up its game in order to defend itself. This led to some admittedly questionable decisions. Sure, Tony had good intentions, but the end results led to things like Ultron. And given the fact that it was a fully formed artificial intelligence, it stands as one of Tony's greatest inventions. Well, greatest or worst, depending on how you look at it, or if you're from Sokovia. Ultron almost destroyed the entire planet, and it's impressive that he got that far, and should be in the pro column on an inventor's resume. Like, if you were hiring an inventor and they said they invented a robot that almost destroyed the world, you might scold him for inventing something so dangerous, but you'd admire his ability, right? And really, what was Tony thinking? He is the smartest guy in any room, and he's never seen a movie before? Obviously, any artificial intelligence would turn evil and want to destroy the world, that's just fact. Tony couldn't foresee that at all? What a shame. Anyway, Ultron, for better or worse, is one of Tony's best inventions. At least from a technical standpoint.
I'm glad you asked that because I wanted to take this time to explain my evil plan.
Alright, I know I said Tony's Iron Man suits would be off limits, but come on, I had to include the Iron Spider suit he built for Peter. This suit is absolutely amazing, and an even bigger step up from the regular advanced Spidey suit Tony first made Peter. Seeing Iron Spider teased in Homecoming only to be shut down was tough to watch, but it made the moment where Peter donned the Iron Spider suit in Infinity War that much better. Take everything you know about Spider-Man's regular suit and multiply it by 10, and you've got the Iron Spider suit. It seemed to be built on the same sort of nanite technology that Tony's Infinity War suit was made out of, which makes a lot of sense. You think Tony would just build a nano suit for himself and not give one to his mentee? I mean, I guess I wouldn't put it past him, because I'm sure War Machine didn't get any sort of upgrade.
Give me a suit, okay?
Anyway, the Iron Spider has some amazing capabilities. Besides basically acting like a spacesuit, the suit is bulletproof, has a better neural reactive interface than the regular suit, and has a terrifying set of iron spider legs that could scare any criminal that encounters Spider-Man in a dark alley sometime. It also has that instant kill mode we've seen before, but this time that feature looks absolutely brutal. Seriously, Tony? I hope you only put that in there in case Peter was surrounded by mindless aliens, and not because that's how you wanted Peter to solve his New York criminal problems. Alright, this next one isn't necessarily an invention per se, but it also sorta is. It's complicated, but the fact of the matter is, Tony Stark basically invented time travel. And it wasn't even this years-long quest or anything. He basically hammered out the solution in a few hours right after washing some dishes and staring longingly at a picture of Peter. Yes, everything was basically laid out for him, and he just had to tweak the original equation to make it work. But the man still invented time travel. How absolutely crazy is that? And look where that led the Avengers. It allowed them to go back in time and eventually bring everyone back from the snap. Without Tony, this never would have worked, and he deserves some recognition for perfecting this. And although it's never specifically said, I'm sure he also invented all the stuff that comes with time travel, including modified suits and the equipment. Now sure, Professor Hulk probably helped a lot with that, but I'm gonna guess that it was like 70-30 Tony's work. So not only did he invent the idea of time travel, he also invented all things that would allow you to actually time travel, which, come on, is flat out amazing. Even dead, I'm the hero. Man, Tony was great at acronyms that really showed off his humble side, don't you think? Edith was another artificial intelligence created by Tony Stark that made it easy for a user to access Stark Industries' global satellite network and hack into just about any computerized device. That's one thing to have a multi-billion-dollar defense system that uses a global satellite network, but it's another thing entirely to invent something as small and sleek-looking as a pair of sunglasses to hold and wield such power. That's pretty amazing. Now, although this is an awesome invention, we do have to question Tony's judgment here to just give these glasses to a hormonal, kinda gullible teenager. Yeah, that wasn't the best choice, Tony, and they almost immediately fell into Mysterio's hands. Like, what an odd disconnect. Tony is the smartest person ever and can invent just about anything, yet he couldn't realize that maybe granting this much power to a high schooler was probably the wrong choice? What, you didn't trust War Machine or Professor Hulk? Seriously, how many people can say that when their life was threatened and their body was deteriorating, they just invented a whole new element in order to fix themselves? Only Tony Stark. In Iron Man 2, Tony's arc reactor and its palladium core was slowly poisoning him. But Tony wasn't just gonna sit around and let that happen. No, he went out and invented something that now can sit on the periodic table. Unfortunately, I don't think I can say the name of this element, or else the YouTube gods might track my location and capture me, but I'm sure we all know what it's called. And of course Tony would name it this. He just made every science class that has to teach the periodic table a lot of fun. The Nano Gauntlet is technically a group effort between Tony Stark, Professor Hulk, and Rocket Raccoon, but it's still a Stark invention, and has anyone ever stopped to think about how crazy it is that they could invent something that could house the Infinity Stones? Like, these stones were the most powerful objects in the universe. They were pure energy and had the power to wipe out half the universe in a single snap. The only device that was capable of holding them was the Infinity Gauntlet, an ancient and powerful device that could contain and harness all that energy, and you're telling me Tony Stark and his team were able to replicate all of this? They were able to analyze the crispy remains of the old Infinity Gauntlet and somehow were able to come up with a way to mimic its abilities? That's awesome! And not to knock the dwarves who made the Infinity Gauntlet, but I'm just saying that that thing was not one size fits all. Yes, it was made for Thanos, but it only fit him. The Nano Gauntlet had the ability to shape itself around the user, which is a major design plus, just saying.
I'm calling it Veronica.
Veronica was a mobile service module that acted as a defense mechanism against the Hulk. It not only was an invention that helped deploy the Hulkbuster armor, but it also acted as a prison for the Hulk that was strong enough to contain the Rage Monster for a little bit. Now, I'll give it to Tony. This is probably his only invention that he made for defense and reactive purposes that actually did its job well. Plus, anything that could contain the Hulk deserves to be on this list. I think every great inventor tends to just stand on the shoulders of what came before. Like, you can't build without a solid foundation, right? That's why BARF is on this list. BARF stands for Binarily Augmented Retro Framing, and it was first seen in Captain America Civil War, where Tony showed a bunch of MIT students the therapeutic capabilities of reliving past memories. Now, when we first saw that, we all thought that was a cool invention. But then, Far From Home happened and made us all question everything we saw. Turns out the original design for these types of holograms were made by Quentin Beck, or as I like to call him, Disgruntled Stark Employee 773. The way Quentin tells it, he came up with these designs and the many spectacular uses for them. Tony took the designs, turned it into a self-therapy machine, and renamed Quentin's life work BARF. I mean, that is kind of a slap in the face. Tony then fired Quentin, saying he was unstable. Now, from what we saw in Far From Home, yes, he was unstable, but was he really that way before Tony fired him? Or was he simply, understandably, upset about his life's work being named after vomit? Real chicken and the egg scenario, right?
Go fire all the drones now!
The single greatest thing about the arc reactor is how it's proof that Tony Stark has a heart. Okay, fine, there's other great things too. The arc reactor completely changed not only Tony's life, but also the entire MCU. Him inventing this allowed him to keep living after he was injured, but the technology that he used to create the arc reactor also was used in later inventions and ideas. It's the core for everything that Tony Stark stands for. As much as his suits get all the attention, it's really the arc reactor that deserves all the credit as Tony's greatest and best invention. Now, the helicarrier is really the unsung hero of the MCU and definitely deserved a spot on this list. The technological feat surrounding such a massive ship is admirable, and we can thank both the Starks for this. The original helicarrier was designed using plans Howard Stark had, and for a first draft, they totally worked. Until the Avengers movie where evil Hawkeye basically took down the entire massive helicarrier with one single well-placed arrow. Yeah, if that could take down your ship, you probably need a new design. And that's where Tony Stark came in. After that unfortunate incident, Tony redesigned the helicarriers to rely on repulsor technology rather than just turbines, and that way the things could stay in the air basically forever. And we don't see a lot of helicarriers anymore, which is a shame because I feel like we only scratched the surface on what these bad boys could do. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Tony invented and installed a feature that made it so the helicarrier could basically become a transformer and morph into a giant robot. Yeah, let's see Thanos' forces take on a big helicarrier robot, right? Oh, that'd be so cool.